Okay, so let's be honest. We have all had those days as artists where we sit at the desk ready to work, but there's been zero, nothing, nada, no inspiration whatsoever. You want to create something epic, but your brain literally is an error sign. I've been stuck in that place recently due to school, important deadlines, and for me, when I hit that art block, I've learned not to force my way through it, but to refill the creative tank. And one of the best ways to do that, I think, is to flip through some art books. There's just something about physical books, the way you can see brushwork, layouts, read tiny notes from artists, that feels so much more immersive than just scrolling through Pinterest. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Cora, or you can call me by my art name Azure. And today I want to take you through my top 6 art books that always help me push out of a creative rut, that push my character design, inspire my color choices, and honestly just remind me why I love making art in the first place. So let us start off with book 1, The World of Mucha, A Journey to Two Fairylands. This book is like a portal. It's like someone handed me the key to a different universe where line and composition are just pure poetry. What I love about this book isn't just the final illustrations, it's the layout. The way Hiroyoshi Yuno created the pages feels almost like storytelling itself. There's a narrative flow, moving from Mucha's iconic posters to his more delicate pieces, and even his less-known works. For character artists especially, it's incredible for understanding how Mucha used ornamental frames and flowing lines to guide the eye, almost like you're leading the viewer through the piece intentionally. And let's talk color. Mucha's muted yet rich palettes are a masterclass in harmony. Creamy ivories, soft peaches, touches of teal and gold. Every time I feel stuck choosing colors, this book reminds me that a limited palette can feel both luxurious and alive. Also, the text dives into his process and philosophy, which is a gem when you're stuck in your own head. It reminds me to think of my work not just as images, but as experiences. And moving right along to book 2, The Art of Fantasy by S. Elizabeth. This book feels like you just unlocked a secret vault of possibilities. First off, the range of artists included here is incredible. It's not a single style. You get lush oil paintings, surreal digital art, textured mixed media, and that variety is so helpful when you're feeling boxed in. The layout has this almost museum catalog feel, which is great for slowing down and studying pieces rather than just flipping through. I find myself taking notes in the margins of my sketchbook every time I go through it. For style exploration, it's perfect. If I'm questioning, how weird can I push this character design? Or what happens if I exaggerate this silhouette even more? This book answers with a loud, yes, go weirder. Color-wise, it covers both the earthy, muted palettes and the hyper-saturated fantasy neons, so you can study how atmosphere shifts with color choices. And when it comes to art block, it's basically like having an entire creative playground at your fingertips. It reminds me that fantasy art is limitless, and my ideas can be too. It reminds me that there's more to fantasy than just elves and dragons, though that is amazing as well. Up next, we have book 3. It's the Heaven Official's Blessing art book by STARember. And I have such a soft spot for this one because STARember's character work is just so exquisite. That's a fancy word. One thing I really appreciate about this book is how it balances both finished illustrations and rougher sketches. You actually see the evolution of the designs, which makes it fantastic for study. When I'm stuck trying to make my characters feel more alive, I go to this book. STARember's line work has this beautiful rhythm, like even static poses feel like they're in motion. It teaches me a lot about line flow and the emotional impact of shapes. And the textural details. The fabrics are rendered so delicately. You can almost feel the softness of the silks and the weight of the embroidery. As a painter, I study these surfaces to understand how light interacts with texture. Layout-wise, it's clean and spacious, so the art breathes. This gives you room to pause and actually absorb the nuances. As a comic designer, it's really inspiring to see the layout of each page. Plus, the palette choices, warm, romantic tones with cool contrasts, are so good for learning balance. It helps me reapproach my color studies when my paintings start to feel flat. And moving right along to this absolute beast of a book, we have The Art and Making of Arcane. I'm pretty sure any character artists out there or painters would know why I have this book. First of all, the book is packed with behind-the-scenes process shots, rough sketches, loose thumbnails, color scripts. It absolutely is a masterclass in visual development. What helps me the most is seeing the early stages of each work. Because let's be real, sometimes I expect my first sketch to look like the final masterpiece. But this book shows the messy beginnings and how they build toward a polished finish. The color work here is absolutely wild. Arcane uses light not just to illuminate, but to create mood and storytelling moments. Studying their lighting schemes has helped me push my paintings from flat to cinematic. And if you're struggling with environmental design, this book is a goldmine. Their backgrounds are rich with texture and depth, but never pull focus from the characters. It's a perfect balance. The layout is dynamic, and like storyboards, it keeps your eye moving, which I think subconsciously teaches you better visual pacing for comics and sequential art especially. This is one of my best sources of information and inspiration. As a character artist, as a comic designer, as an illustrator, it, like its art style, blends my painterly look with my digital artwork. And that is something that calls on me with great motivation. So I would absolutely recommend this art book, even if you're not into Arcane, just to see the behind the scenes, the thumbnailing that goes into every script and detail, the character design and building up of colors and shapes. It's truly a book that gets me motivated every time I look through it. Up next we have book 5, Timeless Mucha and the Magic of Line. Okay, yes, I have 2 Mucha books, but hear me out. Where the world of Mucha is about the big picture and atmosphere, Timeless Mucha zeroes in on his line work and design language. As a character artist, I study this book to understand the discipline of line. Mucha's lines aren't accidental, they're deliberate, sculptural, almost architectural. They build the form and flow of the figure like scaffolding for the whole composition. The way this book lays out the images really invites you to get close and analyze. My favorite part about this book is that you get to see the original sketches and concept art for the finished product. You start to notice how he balances delicate curves with structural geometry, which is so useful when designing characters who need both elegance and strength, as well as understanding how to better lay out your paintings. And honestly, when I'm creatively stuck, just studying over a Mucha composition in my sketchbook loosens me up and reconnects me to the joy of drawing. And last but not least, the final book, book 6, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, The Art of the Movie. And just like the Arcane book, you know I couldn't leave this one out. This book is basically a punch of adrenaline straight to your art brain. The best part, it embraces chaos, multiple styles, textures, perspectives. It shows that you can mix graffiti textures with crisp comic line work, and it works. I love how it plays with the fact and idea that each character design is unique to their own worlds. And so that also pushes just how much different styles you could have in your artwork. For art block, it's incredible because it almost feels like permission to play. Like, hey, you can layer that scribbly texture on top of a refined figure drawing and it'll look awesome. The layout is super dynamic too, overlapping frames, concept sketches bleeding into final frames, which is a fantastic reminder of how design can be loose and experimental. The text shares tons of insights into their artistic choices, from why they chose specific palettes for emotional beats, how they develop character silhouettes for clarity and energy. This book also reminds me to take risk and trust the process. Even the wildest ideas can become something extraordinary. Those are my 6. These books are my go-tos when I need to break through art block and push my character design, push my paintings, and just fall in love with art again. These books aren't just pretty for your coffee tables. They're active study tools, your silent mentors. They sit on your shelf, but every time you open them, they give you their own creative nudge. I'd love to know what art books keep you going when you're stuck. Please drop your favorites in the comments below. I'd always love to grow my art collection. Remember, remember, even if your painting or your sketchbook is looking a little empty right now, your brain is still collecting ideas. And these books, they're like creative kindling. You just need a little spark. Thank you for being here, thanks for following along, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!